My beloved child, this message has been sealed until this exact moment. Archangel Michael stands close, not as a distant watcher, but as a commander with urgency in his voice. He says, I order you to open this urgently. This is not symbolic. This is not poetry. This is instruction. A dark shadow that followed your steps silently, that lingered behind conversations and decisions, has now been identified, and it is being eliminated. But hear this carefully, the name connected to it will hurt you. It will sting your heart for a moment. Still, Archangel Michael says, open it quickly, because delay gives the shadow space to breathe. Listen closely, because many will hear this message, but only a few will understand why it feels so personal. From the moment this video found you, something ancient shifted in the spiritual atmosphere around your life. You were not scrolling randomly. You were guided here because heaven decided you are strong enough to face a truth that was hidden for your protection. Until now, there has been a presence around you that did not belong. It was subtle, polite, and often disguised as concern or familiarity. Sometimes it spoke with kindness. Sometimes it used silence. But Archangel Michael reveals that it was feeding on hesitation, confusion, and emotional attachment. His shadow did not come to destroy loudly. It came to drain quietly. And now, its time is over. Archangel Michael steps forward with his sword already drawn, not to frighten you, but to defend you. He says the order to open this is not about an object alone. It is about opening your eyes to a pattern you kept excusing. A message, a document, a conversation, or a realization is about to surface. You may already feel it pressing on your spirit. Something you avoided because deep down you knew it would change how you see someone, or even yourself. The name will hurt you. That is the part many are not ready for. Because the shadow was attached to a name you trusted, respected, or loved. It could be someone from your past who still has emotional access. It could be someone present who smiles while blocking your growth. Or it could even be a name you speak in prayer, not realizing it carried unresolved weight. Archangel Michael does not reveal names to shame you. He reveals them to free you. Do not be afraid of the discomfort. Pain here is not punishment. It is proof that the lie is losing its grip. The moment you open what has been sealed, whether it is an unread truth, an avoided decision, or a message you kept postponing, the shadow collapses. Darkness cannot survive exposure. That is why the command is urgent. You may be wondering why now. Why not earlier, when things were lighter? Because you were still becoming. Your discernment was still forming. Archangel Michael waited until your spirit was strong enough not to run back to what feels familiar. Now, you are ready to walk forward without needing closure from the past. There is also something important you must understand. The shadow did not come alone. It brought delay, missed opportunities, and confusion in timing. That is why certain doors felt heavy. That is why progress sometimes slowed without explanation. But hear this clearly. The moment the shadow is eliminated, movement returns. Momentum accelerates. What felt blocked will suddenly respond. Archangel Michael says, do not negotiate with what I have already judged. This is not the time to explain, justify, or reopen emotional debates. Heaven has already ruled in your favor. Your only role is obedience. Open it. Face it. Release it. Pay attention to what surfaces in the next short window of time. A message may come unexpectedly. A memory may resurface with clarity. A truth may be spoken by someone who does not even realize they are being used to deliver it. Do not ignore these signals. They are not coincidences. They are confirmations. And one more thing, beloved. Once the shadow is gone, there will be a brief silence. Do not mistake that silence for loss. It is space. Space for light. Space for clarity. Space for the next assignment prepared for you. Archangel Michael does not remove without replacing. What leaves creates room for protection, favor, and divine alignment. Stay with this message. Let it settle in your spirit. Something far bigger is unfolding than you can see right now, and the next revelation will connect everything you've questioned until this moment. Chosen one, now that the command has been released, the atmosphere around you is no longer the same. Something shifted the moment you received the order to open what was sealed. Archangel Michael stands firm beside you, watching closely how you respond next, because obedience after revelation determines the speed of deliverance. This part is quiet, but it is powerful. It is the space where truth begins to breathe and illusions start losing their strength. There is a reason Archangel Michael spoke with urgency. Darkness does not always scream. Sometimes it hides in routine, in comfort, in patterns you stopped questioning. The shadow attached itself, not through fear, but through familiarity. That is why it lasted as long as it did. It blended into your daily life so well that you stopped seeing where you ended and where it began. But now, your vision is sharpening. You may already feel a strange mix of emotions rising. Relief, confusion, resistance, clarity, all at once. This is normal. When a shadow is exposed, it tries one last time to confuse your emotions so you doubt what you saw. Archangel Michael warns that this is the phase where many people retreat. Their open doors have been already closed. Do not do that. The discomfort you feel is temporary, but the freedom waiting on the other side is permanent. The name connected to this shadow carries history. That is why it hurts. It is not just a name. It represents time, energy, and pieces of your heart you invested with sincerity. But hear this carefully, sincerity does not equal safety. You were genuine, but not everyone around you was aligned. Archangel Michael does not accuse you. He honors your heart. Yet he also corrects your boundaries. This shadow influenced your decisions more than you realized. It whispered doubt when you felt called to move forward. It delayed your confidence. It kept you explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. And the most dangerous part is that it made all of this feel normal. But heaven does not call stagnation normal. Heaven calls it a warning sign. Now comes the separation phase. This is where things may feel emotionally heavy, even if nothing dramatic happens outwardly. You may start seeing certain behaviors clearly for the first time. Words you once ignored may suddenly sound sharp. Patterns you excused may now feel obvious. This is not bitterness awakening in you. This is discernment maturing. Archangel Michael says that when you open what you have been avoiding, you are not opening pain, you are opening truth. Pain was already there, hidden under silence. Truth simply removes the disguise. And once truth is seen, it cannot be unseen. That is why heaven waited until your spirit could handle clarity without collapsing under it. Do not rush to confront anyone yet. This phase is not about reaction. It is about recognition. Let the truth settle fully before you speak. Archangel Michael is handling the unseen battles while you learn to stand steady in the seen ones. Silence right now is not weakness. It is strategy. There is also a release happening within you. Old guilt is being lifted. You blamed yourself for things that were never yours to carry. You replayed moments, wondering what you did wrong. Archangel Michael says the shadow fed on that self-blame. Now that it is being eliminated, you will begin to see how much weight you were carrying unnecessarily. Pay attention to your dreams and inner nudges during this time. Heaven often speaks softly after a strong command. You may receive confirmation through sudden peace even before circumstances change. That peace is your sign that the process is working, even if your mind still has questions. Something else is important here. When a shadow leaves, it creates a vacuum. Nature hates emptiness, and so does the spiritual realm. That space will either be filled with light or old habits will try to creep back in. This is why Archangel Michael urges you to stay aware. Choose light intentionally. Choose truth even when it is uncomfortable. You are not losing anything real in this process. What is leaving was already draining you. What is being removed was blocking your next assignment. And yes, there's an assignment. Your life is not random. Your experiences were not wasted. Even the shadow will become a testimony of how heaven intervenes at the right time. Archangel Michael says you are entering a phase where clarity will replace confusion and direction will replace delay. But it begins internally. The outer world will follow once the inner alignment is complete. Be patient with yourself during this transition. Growth does not always feel powerful while it is happening. Stand firm. You are protected. The sword is still raised, and what was hidden will no longer have permission to touch your future. My precious one, this is the moment where heaven leans closer. Archangel Michael is not only guarding you now, he is instructing you. The shadow has been identified, and its grip is weakening, but this phase is about completion. Partial obedience leaves doors cracked open. Full obedience seals them forever. What you are feeling right now, the emotional heaviness, the sudden clarity, the quiet inner resistance, is proof that something real is being dismantled. Archangel Michael reveals that shadows often resist most when they know their end is near. You may notice subtle attempts to pull you back into old thinking. Familiar emotions may resurface unexpectedly. You might feel tempted to reach out, to explain yourself, or to soften the truth. This is not intuition. This is interference. Do not confuse emotional noise with spiritual guidance. Heaven's voice is firm, calm, and clear. Confusion never comes from above. There is a sacred lesson unfolding here. You are learning the difference between compassion and permission. You can forgive without reopening access. You can love without remaining available. Archangel Michael says many delays in your life came not from attacks, but from allowances. You allowed things to stay longer than they were assigned. That season is ending now. The name that hurts you carries emotional authority because you once gave it weight. But hear this: authority can be revoked. Just because someone had access to you before does not mean they are entitled to your future. Archangel Michael is restoring rightful order. What once influenced you will no longer instruct you. What once strained you will no longer direct you. This is also the stage where truth becomes undeniable. You may realize that certain struggles were not random at all. They were symptoms of being spiritually out of alignment with your assignment. When you tried to move forward, something always pulled you back emotionally. That was the shadow anchoring itself to familiarity. But familiarity is not destiny. Archangel Michael says your spirit has matured enough to choose destiny over comfort. That is why this command came now. You are no longer the version of yourself that needed protection through ignorance. You are the version that can handle truth and still move forward in faith. Do not rush the healing. Healing does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without bleeding. And that takes intention. As the shadow dissolves, you may grieve. not because you lost something good, but because you finally see what you endured. Let those emotions move through you without judgment. They are part of the release. There is also a restoration happening quietly. Confidence is returning, not the loud kind, but the grounded kind. The kind that does not need validation. The kind that knows when to walk away without explaining. Archangel Michael calls this inner authority. Once it settles, your life begins to respond differently. People treat you differently. Opportunities align faster. Boundaries feel natural instead of forced. Something important is coming next, but it requires your clarity. Heaven does not pour new wine into old containers. That is why the shadow had to go first. What is being prepared for you needs your full attention, your full strength, and your full discernment. Distraction is no longer allowed. Stay present with this message. What unfolds next will connect pieces from your past that never made sense before. This is where many people wish they had stayed just a little longer, because the revelation ahead changes everything. And now, receive this prophetic instruction clearly. Type "I receive the light" in the comments if this message is confirming what your spirit already knows. Blessing code 913 is now released over your life. And hear this sacred call. When Archangel Michael exposes darkness, it is not only for your freedom, but for the freedom of others who are still trapped in silence. Every seed sown into this work becomes light in places you may never see, but heaven records every act of obedience. I hear the Lord say, as you have received freely, now release freely. This mission moves because chosen ones respond, not out of pressure, but out of alignment. If your spirit feels stirred to support this work through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, obey that nudge now. Your giving becomes oil that keeps this flame burning, reaching those who are one message away from breakthrough. The link is already prepared in the description. Do not delay what heaven has prompted. I speak blessing over every hand that releases a seed. May what you give return to you pressed down, multiplied, and protected. Hold steady. What is coming next will bring everything into focus. Beloved one, now that the shadow has been confronted and its authority broken, a new kind of awareness is settling into your spirit. This is the stage where silence speaks louder than words. Archangel Michael is still present, but his posture has shifted. He is no longer standing only as a warrior. He is standing as a guide, watching how you walk now that the weight has lifted. Freedom is not loud at first. It feels unfamiliar, even strange, because you lived so long under pressure you mistook it for normal. You may notice that certain urges have faded. The need to explain yourself is weakening. The impulse to chase closure is dissolving. This is not apathy. This is healing. When a wound closes properly, it no longer demands attention. Archangel Michael says this is how you know the shadow is truly leaving. Its voice no longer triggers reaction. Where there is no reaction, there is no control. Something subtle but powerful is happening in your perception. You are beginning to see people as they are, not as you hoped they would become. This clarity is a gift, even if it feels sobering. You are no longer filtering truth through emotion. You are reading situations with discernment. That is maturity, and heaven trusts you with it now. Do not be surprised if some connections start feeling distant without conflict. Alignment does not always require confrontation. Sometimes separation happens simply because you stop feeding what was never meant to grow. Archangel Michael says this is divine pruning. Nothing essential will be lost, but everything unnecessary will fall away naturally. There may also be moments where you question yourself. You might wonder if you were too harsh, too quick, or too firm. This is old conditioning trying to reassert itself. You were trained to overextend grace at the expense of truth. That pattern is breaking. Boundaries are not rejection. They are recognition of value, your value. This is also the phase where your intuition strengthens. You may sense things before they happen. You may feel guided away from certain conversations or drawn toward new opportunities without logical explanation. Do not dismiss this. Archangel Michael is sharpening your inner hearing. You are learning to trust what resonates in peace, not what demands urgency. Heaven is also restoring your sense of timing. Delays that once frustrated you were not punishment. They were protection. And certain doors opened earlier. The shadow would have entered with you. Now that it is gone, movement will feel smoother. Progress will no longer feel forced. Things will align with less resistance. Pay attention to how your body responds during this time. Tension may release unexpectedly. Rest may come easier. Your nervous system is adjusting to safety. When spiritual battles end, the body often needs time to recalibrate. Give yourself permission to slow down without guilt. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this stage is about integration. You are integrating truth into your identity. You are no longer someone who survives by endurance alone. You are becoming someone who moves with authority. Authority does not shout, it stands firm. There is also an invitation here to redefine what peace means to you. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the absence of inner war. You no longer have to argue with yourself about what you feel called to do. The inner debate is settling. Direction is becoming clearer. Do not rush to fill the space that was created. Empty space is not lack. It is preparation. Heaven fills slowly so nothing is wasted. Archangel Michael says your next alignment will not drain you. It will strengthen you. It will feel mutual balanced and clean. You are also being taught discernment in language. Words that once sounded loving may now feel manipulative. Promises that once impressed you may now feel empty. This is not cynicism. This is wisdom. You are learning to listen beneath the surface. Something else is shifting, your prayer life. You may notice your prayers becoming simpler, more direct. You are no longer begging for clarity. You are responding to it. That is growth. Heaven responds quickly to prayers that come from alignment rather than desperation. This phase may feel quiet externally, but do not mistake quiet for inactivity. Foundations are being laid, and strong foundations are built slowly, intentionally, and unseen. Archangel Michael says what is coming next will require this stability. That is why this season feels still. Remain present. Do not look back to measure how far you've come. Do not look ahead with anxiety. Stay here, grounded, aware, and open. The next movement will come at the right moment, and when it does, you will move without fear, without hesitation, and without the shadow that once followed you. Stay anchored. Heaven is not finished. My beloved one, this is the stage where inner strength quietly replaces inner struggle. Archangel Michael is still near, but now he is watching the shift in your posture. You are no longer bracing yourself for impact. You are standing. That alone tells heaven that something has changed deeply within you. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is the calm refusal to return to what once diminished you. You may notice that situations which once triggered anxiety no longer have the same effect. The memories still exist, but they no longer control your emotions. This is not because you became cold, it is because you became clear. Archangel Michael says clarity is one of the greatest weapons against darkness. Confusion feeds shadows. Understanding starves them. There is a recalibration happening in your heart. Old expectations are being rewritten. You are no longer expecting people to become who they never intended to be. You are no longer waiting for apologies that were never planned. This acceptance is not defeat. It is freedom. When expectations fall away, peace rises naturally. You may also sense a stronger pull toward truth, even when it costs comfort. Lies, even small ones, may start feeling heavy to you. Pretending may feel exhausting. This is because your spirit is aligning with integrity. Archangel Michael says integrity attracts protection. When your inner life and outer actions agree, heaven backs you with authority. There is also a shift in how you see yourself. You are beginning to recognize patterns you once ignored. Not to shame yourself, but to correct direction. This self-awareness is not self-attack, it is self-respect. You are no longer abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. Pay attention to how you respond when silence appears. Earlier, silence felt threatening. Now, it feels neutral, sometimes even peaceful. This is a sign that your worth is no longer tied to constant reassurance. You are learning to be still without feeling forgotten. Archangel Michael reveals that this phase is teaching you discernment and energy, not just words. You can sense when something is off even if it looks right on the surface. You can feel when a connection is draining even if it sounds supportive. Trust this sensitivity. It is not weakness. It is refinement. You may also feel a renewed sense of dignity. Not pride, but dignity. The kind that knows when to leave quietly. The kind that does not need to prove anything. This dignity is a direct result of the shadow losing access to your emotions. What once provoked reaction now meets restraint. Do not be surprised if new ideas begin forming during this time. Ideas about change, growth, or direction. These are not random thoughts. They are seeds. Archangel Michael says your mind is clearing, creating room for vision. Write these thoughts down. Honor them. They are early signs of what is coming. You might also experience moments of grief that feel delayed. Grief for time lost, energy spent, or truth ignored. Allow it. Grief is not regression. It is completion. When grief is acknowledged, it no longer lingers in the background. It moves through and releases. This is also the stage where patience is tested. Not patience with others, but patience with process. You may want everything to make sense immediately. You may want visible confirmation that you chose correctly. Archangel Michael reminds you that some confirmations come as peace before they come as proof. Your relationship with boundaries is changing. They no longer feel like walls. They feel like clarity. You are learning that saying no is sometimes the most loving response to yourself and to others. Resentment fades when boundaries are honored. There is an internal alignment happening between your values and your actions. When this alignment completes, decisions become easier. You will no longer wrestle internally over choices that once drained you. Direction will feel natural instead of forced. Archangel Michael also emphasizes rest in this phase. Not avoidance, but restoration. Your spirit has been alert for a long time. Now it is learning how to exist without constant defense. Rest is not laziness. It is recalibration. You may notice a shift in how you pray or reflect. Less desperation. More trust. Less asking for signs. More listening. This is maturity. Heaven responds quickly to a grounded spirit. Do not rush this season. It is building something stable within you. Stability may not feel exciting, but it is essential. What is ahead requires a steady foundation, not emotional urgency. Remain attentive but not anxious. Remain open but not unguarded. You are walking into a new level of self-trust, backed by divine protection. The shadow is no longer shaping your reactions, and soon you will see how much lighter your path has become because of it. Stay present. The unfolding continues. Beloved child, you have now entered a phase where awareness turns into responsibility. Archangel Michael is still near you, but his instruction in this moment is clear. What you see now, you cannot unsee. What you understand now, you cannot undo. This is the level where growth becomes intentional. The shadow no longer has power over you, but wisdom must now guard the ground it once occupied. You may notice that life feels strangely calm, almost too calm. This calm is not emptiness, it is stability. When chaos leaves, silence often follows. Many people panic here because they mistake peace for stagnation. But Archangel Michael says this stillness is evidence that your spirit is no longer under attack. The battle noise has stopped. Now comes building. Your reactions are changing. Situations that once would have triggered explanation, anxiety, or emotional spirals now receive measured responses, or none at all. This is not emotional shutdown. This is emotional mastery. You are no longer led by impulse. You are led by discernment. That is a dangerous level for darkness, which is why the shadow cannot return. You are also beginning to recognize how much energy you use to give away unnecessarily. Conversations that drained you, thoughts that circled endlessly, emotional labor that was never reciprocated. Archangel Michael says you are learning conservation. Where you place your energy now will determine how quickly your next elevation manifests. There is a sharpening happening in your discernment. You are no longer impressed by words alone. Consistency matters to you now. Integrity matters. Alignment matters. You are quietly evaluating environments, people, and opportunities not with suspicion, but with wisdom. This is the mark of spiritual adulthood. Do not be surprised if some people sense this change and react to it. When you stop being accessible to manipulation, it unsettles those who benefited from your silence. You may notice subtle guilt attempts, emotional pulling, or sudden kindness that feels strategic. Archangel Michael says do not engage emotionally with these tests. Observe and remain steady. Your identity is stabilizing. You are no longer asking who you need to be for others. You are discovering who you already are. This shift is powerful because it removes dependence on external validation. When approval is no longer your fuel, control loses its grip. This is also a moment to acknowledge how far you have come. You endured confusion without quitting. You faced truth without collapsing. You released what hurt without becoming bitter. It takes strength. Archangel Michael honors that strength and says heaven responds to resilience with reward. Now hear this clearly. What you are receiving through this message is not meant to stop with you. Light multiplies when it is shared. If this word is confirming what your spirit has been processing, do not keep it to yourself. Engage with it. Let it move through you. When you like this message, when you comment with your confirmation, when you share it with someone who needs clarity, you are participating in a chain of awakening. Subscribe and stay connected, because what is unfolding here is progressive. Each revelation builds on the last, and those who stay aligned will not miss their moment. You are not here by accident, and neither is this timing. The clarity you are stepping into now will soon require action. Not rushed action, but aligned movement. Archangel Michael says your next steps will feel obvious when they arrive. You will not need to force doors. They will open in response to who you have become. There is also strengthening of your inner voice. You are learning to trust your first sense again. Doubt is losing its authority. Overthinking is quieting. This is not because life has no challenges, but because your inner foundation is no longer unstable. Be mindful of what you allow back into your space. Just because something feels familiar does not mean it is healthy. Just because someone returns does not mean they are transformed. Discernment now protects your peace. This is also the stage where gratitude becomes important. Not performative gratitude, but recognition. Recognition that you survived something you once thought would break you. Recognition that you are clearer now than you were before. Recognition that heaven intervened when you could not see how. Archangel Michael says there is still more to be revealed, and what comes next will answer questions you have carried quietly. This is why staying present matters. Many people exit too early, right before understanding arrives. Hold your position. You are standing on cleared ground now, and what grows next will be different from anything you have known before. Stay with this. The next unfolding will bring everything into sharper focus. My beloved one, you are now stepping into a level of clarity that few reach without resistance. Archangel Michael stands watch, not because danger surrounds you, but because transition requires protection. This is the phase where inner alignment begins to reshape outer reality. What changed within you is now preparing to show itself around you, and this is where many are surprised by how quickly life responds once truth is settled. You may begin to notice that situations resolve themselves without effort. Conversations that once felt heavy suddenly end on their own. Conflicts lose momentum. Questions that kept looping in your mind simply fall silent. This is not avoidance, it is resolution. When the root is removed, the fruit no longer grows. The shadow is gone, and with it, the confusion it fed on. Archangel Michael reveals that you are entering a season of confirmation. Not dramatic signs, but quiet validations. Small moments where you realize you made the right decision. Subtle peace where anxiety used to sit. An unexpected sense of rightness when you think about the future. These confirmations are heaven's way of stabilizing you before movement begins. Your confidence is becoming internal, not situational. Earlier, confidence depended on reassurance, outcomes, or approval. Now it comes from knowing. The knowing what you will no longer tolerate. The knowing what aligns with your spirit. The knowing when to step forward and when to remain still. This kind of confidence cannot be shaken easily because it is rooted in truth, not circumstance. You may also notice a change in how you speak. Your words are fewer but clear. You explain less. You justify less. This is not because you do not care, but because you trust your discernment. Archangel Michael says when your inner authority strengthens, your need to convince others weakens. There is also a shift in how you perceive time. You are no longer rushing to catch up or regretting what has passed. You are more present. Presence is powerful. When you are fully present, you make better decisions, sense red flags earlier, and recognize opportunities without forcing them. This phase may also bring moments of testing, but not in the way you expect. The tests are subtle. Old patterns may knock lightly, just to see if you answer. Familiar emotions may whisper, just to see if you react. These are not attacks, they are confirmations. Each time you choose differently, you seal your growth deeper. Archangel Michael says do not fear these moments. They are not setbacks. They are checkpoints. And you are passing them. You may feel drawn to simplify your life. Less noise. Less explaining. Less emotional clutter. This is natural. When clarity increases, excess becomes uncomfortable. You are not becoming distant, you are becoming selective. Selective with your energy, your time, and your attention. Pay attention to new desires forming within you. Desires for peace, purpose, stability, or meaningful connection. These are not random. They are indicators of where your next alignment lies. Your spirit is no longer interested in what excites temporarily. It is drawn to what sustains long-term. There may also be a sense of readiness growing. Not urgency, but readiness. A quiet feeling that you are prepared for what is next, even if you do not yet know what it looks like. Archangel Michael says this readiness comes from internal order. When inner chaos settles, readiness rises naturally. Be mindful not to minimize what you have overcome. Sometimes clarity makes past pain feel distant, and you may be tempted to downplay it. Do not. Honor your journey without living in it. You earned this stability. You are also learning how to trust yourself again. Decisions feel less heavy. Doubt has less volume. This is not recklessness. It is restored intuition. The shadow once interfered with your inner voice. Now that interference is gone, guidance flows more clearly. This is a season of quiet empowerment. No announcements. No dramatic shifts. Just steady strengthening. Archangel Michael says this is how lasting change happens. Slowly, deeply, and without the need for attention. Do not compare your process to others. What looks slow is actually thorough. What looks quiet is actually secure. Heaven is not rushing you because there is nothing chasing you anymore. Remain grounded. Remain observant. Remain honest with yourself. The foundation you are standing on now will support what is coming next, and what is coming will require this level of clarity. Stay with this unfolding. The next movement will reveal why this preparation was necessary, and you will understand that nothing in this process was wasted. My beloved child, you have arrived at a threshold moment. Archangel Michael stands before you now not with urgency, but with confirmation. This is the stage where preparation meets permission. Everything you have been feeling, the clarity, the calm, the inner stability, has been leading here. You are no longer being emptied. You are being positioned. There is a quiet boldness forming in you. Not the kind that needs to announce itself, but the kind that moves without apology. You are no longer asking for permission to be who you are becoming. This shift is subtle, but it is powerful. Archangel Michael says when a person stops negotiating with their own worth, heaven accelerates their path. You may notice that opportunities now feel different. You are not chasing them. They are noticing you. Conversations carry more weight. Decisions feel cleaner. You are not overthinking every step. This is because your inner alignment is now strong enough to hold responsibility without pressure. There is also a release of fear happening at a deeper level. Not surface fear, but the kind that quietly influenced your choices. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being alone. Fear of making the wrong move. These fears are loosening their grip because trust has replaced them. Trust in discernment. Trust in timing. Trust in divine protection. Archangel Michael reveals that you are entering a season where what you allow will matter more than what you pursue. You do not need to force outcomes anymore. You need to guard alignment. What aligns will remain. What does not will fade without drama. Pay attention to how your spirit responds to invitations now. Some things that once excited you may feel hollow. Some paths that once seemed risky may now feel peaceful. This is not contradiction. This is growth. Your values are changing, and your life is following. You may also feel a stronger pull toward purpose. Not a loud calling, but a steady awareness that your life carries meaning beyond survival. You are no longer just getting through days. You are sensing direction. Archangel Michael says this is the result of inner order. Purpose becomes visible when distractions lose control. There is an important instruction here. Do not rush to fill your calendar or your emotional space. Space is sacred right now. It allows discernment to work without interference. Heaven often speaks in the gaps, not in the noise. You might also notice that people respond to you differently. Some with respect, some with distance, some with curiosity. This is normal. When your energy changes, it reveals alignment, or lack of it, in others. Do not take this personally. Let it inform you. This is also the stage where gratitude deepens. Not just gratitude for blessings, but gratitude for protection. Protection from what did not work. Protection from what could have harmed you further. Protection from paths that looked right but were wrong. Archangel Michael says recognizing protection is a sign of spiritual maturity. Your patience is being rewarded. What felt so before was not delay, it was refinement. And refined vessels carry more without breaking. You are stronger now, even if the process felt quiet. And now hear this carefully. The clarity you are walking in is not meant to stay contained. Light multiplies when it is released. If this message has been aligning with your spirit, there is a reason. Heaven uses willing vessels to reach others who are still trapped in confusion. Type "I step into alignment" in the comments if you feel this confirmation settling in your spirit. Lesson code 1440 is now activated over your life. And now receive this divine instruction. The Lord says, as light has found you, now help light find them. Every seed released into this work becomes a river, flowing into lives that are desperate for clarity and hope. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not funding content, you are fueling deliverance. I speak directly to those who feel this stirring. This is your moment to act. So now, while the ground is open, the link is waiting in the description. As you release, may heaven release back to you wisdom, protection, and increase beyond what you expect. Obey the nudge. Let your giving speak in the unseen. Remain steady. What comes next will reveal why this alignment was necessary, and you will see how precisely heaven hath been guiding you all along. Beloved one, this is the stage where movement begins internally before it ever shows externally. Archangel Michael is still watching closely, not because danger is near, but because momentum must be guided wisely. When alignment is complete, motion follows naturally. You do not need to push life forward anymore. Life begins responding to you. You may sense a subtle urgency returning, but this time it feels different. It is not anxiety. It is readiness. Readiness to act when prompted. Readiness to choose without hesitation. Readiness to walk away without guilt. This urgency is clean. It is not fueled by fear, but by clarity. Archangel Michael reveals that many of the questions you once asked no longer require answers. You are no longer trying to understand everything. You are trusting what you already know. This is a sign of spiritual confidence. When you stop demanding explanations, you begin receiving direction. Your discernment is now operating faster. You notice red flags early, before emotional investment forms. You sense alignment before commitment. This is not judgment. This is protection. Protection refined by experience and sealed by obedience. There may be moments where you reflect on the past and feel surprised by how far away it seems. Not because time passed, but because you changed. The person who tolerated confusion no longer exists. The version of you that questioned your worth has been replaced by someone who knows their value quietly. This is also a season of recalibrated desires. You are no longer drawn to intensity without stability. Drama without purpose feels exhausting. You crave depth, honesty, and peace. Archangel Michael says these desires are not weakness. They are indicators of maturity. Only healed hearts desire stability. Pay attention to how you respond to opportunities now. You are no longer saying yes out of fear of missing out. You are choosing based on alignment. This will protect your energy and multiply your effectiveness. Not every open door is assigned to you. You may notice that your intuition speaks more often through restraint than impulse. Sometimes the guidance is simply not to engage, not to explain, not to react. This restraint is powerful. Silence can be louder than words when it is chosen, not forced. There is also a deepening trust forming between you and heaven. You are no longer asking for constant reassurance. You are moving with the understanding that correction will come if needed. The trust allows you to step forward without fear of making every decision perfectly. Archangel Michael says this is the level where many blessings are either sustained or sabotaged. Not by external forces, but by internal discipline. You are learning how to steward peace, not just receive it. Peace must be protected intentionally. You may also feel a stronger awareness of your boundaries, being tested lightly. Not aggressively, but subtly. Invitations that almost fit. Conversations that almost pull you back. These are not traps. They are confirmation. Each time you respond with clarity instead of confusion, you strengthen your foundation. Your emotional reactions are becoming cleaner. When something does hurt, you process it faster. You do not linger in it. You do not internalize it as failure. This is emotional resilience. Archangel Michael says resilience is not the absence of pain, but the ability to recover without losing direction. This phase is also preparing you for visibility in some form, not necessarily public but influential. People may begin seeking your perspective. Your calm may draw others who are still in chaos. Be mindful here. You are not called to rescue, you are called to reflect truth. Offer clarity without absorbing burden. Do not underestimate the power of your presence now. You carry stability into spaces that were once heavy. That is not accidental. That is fruit. There may still be moments of uncertainty ahead, but they will not shake you the way they once did. Uncertainty no longer threatens your identity. It simply invites discernment. Archangel Michael emphasizes patience one more time, not because things are slow, but because timing matters. Acting too early can be as costly as acting too late. You are learning to move when peace confirms, not when pressure demands. Stay attentive to small instructions. Sometimes the biggest shifts come from simple obedience. A pause. A no. A quiet yes. These moments shape outcomes more than dramatic decisions. And hear this carefully as you continue. What unfolds next will answer a question you have not spoken out loud yet. It will connect clarity with action in a way that feels undeniable. This is where many people look back and realize this was a turning point. So remain here. Let this settle. Trust the process as it completes its work. Hold on, because what comes next will bring everything into alignment in a way you did not expect, and you will be grateful you stayed present for it. Beloved one, you are now standing at a point where understanding turns into action. Archangel Michael is close, not to command loudly, but to steady your steps. What you have gained so far is not just awareness. It is readiness. Readiness does not mean you have all the answers. It means you trust the one guiding you even when the path unfolds step by step. You may notice that your tolerance for confusion is gone. Where you once lingered in indecision, you now feel an inner push toward clarity. This does not mean rushing. It means you are no longer willing to live in half-truths. Archangel Michael says this is the mark of someone who has crossed from survival into stewardship. You are now responsible for what you know. There's a shift happening in how you make choices. Earlier, choices were driven by emotion, urgency, or fear of loss. And now, choices are measured against peace. If something disturbs your peace deeply, you are no longer trying to rationalize it away. You listen. Peace has become your compass. You may also find yourself becoming more selective with conversations. Small talk drains you faster. Repetitive explanations exhaust you. You are drawn to depth, even if it means fewer connections. This is not isolation. It is refinement. Archangel Michael says fewer, aligned connections will carry you further than many misaligned ones. This phase is also about consistency. Not dramatic change, but steady alignment. Showing up with integrity. Keeping boundaries even when no one is watching. Choosing truth when it would be easier to stay silent. These small acts are building something strong beneath the surface. There may be moments when you feel the urge to look back, not because you want to return, but because you want reassurance. Reassurance that leaving was right. Reassurance that clarity was worth the discomfort. Archangel Michael reminds you that the absence of chaos is already your confirmation. You do not need to revisit old pain to prove your growth. Your emotional world is becoming more stable. Ups and downs still happen, but they no longer define you. You recover faster. You center yourself quicker. This stability is not accidental. It is the fruit of release. What once drained your emotional reserves no longer has access. This is also a season of discipline. Discipline with your time. Discipline with your thoughts. Discipline with your attention. Archangel Michael says what you focus on now will expand quickly. Be mindful of what you feed mentally and emotionally. Refuse focus. You may feel a growing desire to protect what you have gained. Your peace feels valuable now, not fragile. You are no longer afraid of losing it easily, but you are intentional about maintaining it. This balance is healthy. Fear guards nothing. Wisdom guards everything. There is also a new courage forming. Not the courage to confront loudly, but the courage to choose quietly. To walk away without announcement. To say no without explanation. To wait without anxiety. This quiet courage is powerful because it does not depend on reaction. Archangel Michael reveals that this phase prepares you for responsibility. Responsibility is not burden. It is trust. Heaven does not entrust clarity to those who will misuse it. The fact that you have arrived here means you are being trusted with more influence, even if it does not look like it yet. As this message continues to unfold, stay connected. Engage with it. When you like this video, when you comment with what is resonating, when you share it with someone who needs direction, you are anchoring this word not just in your mind, but in your spirit. Subscribe and stay close, because the revelation is progressive. Each part builds on the last, and those who remain attentive will recognize their moment when it arrives. You are not late. You are not behind. You are aligned. And alignment always feels quieter than chaos, but it produces lasting results. You may also sense a new respect for your own energy. You no longer give it away cheaply. You invest it where there is return, not in validation, but in peace and purpose. This is maturity. Archangel Michael says your next step will not require force. It will require agreement. Agreement with truth. Agreement with timing. Agreement with who you have become. When that agreement is complete, movement will be effortless. Remain observant. Remain grounded. Remain honest with yourself. What is coming next will connect clarity with outcome in a tangible way. This is where preparation begins to show results. Stay steady. You are walking forward with protection, wisdom, and authority. And the unfolding is not finished yet. Beloved one, this is the stage where alignment begins to reveal results not all at once but in unmistakable ways. Archangel Michael remains near, not because you are fragile, but because what unfolds next requires precision. You are no longer being shaped through disruption. You are being confirmed through clarity. This is where many realize that the hardest part was never letting go. It was trusting what would come after. You may start noticing tangible shifts around you. Not dramatic miracles meant to impress others, but meaningful changes that reassure your spirit. Conversations feel different. Decisions resolve faster. Situations that once dragged on suddenly reach conclusions. This is the fruit of inner order manifesting outwardly. When confusion leaves the inside, delay loses its hold on the outside. There is a growing sense of self-respect anchoring your choices now. You are no longer negotiating your standards to keep peace. You understand that peace built on self-betrayal is not peace at all. Archangel Michael says this realization marks the difference between emotional survival and spiritual authority. You are no longer surviving your life, you are stewarding it. You may feel more comfortable with solitude than before. Not because you are withdrawing, but because your inner world is no longer chaotic. Silence does not threaten you. It restores you. Discomfort with stillness is a sign of healing. When noise leaves, wisdom has space to speak. There may also be moments of deep gratitude that arrive unexpectedly. Gratitude not tied to circumstance, but to awareness. Awareness of how protected you were even when you did not understand it. Awareness of how many things did not work out because they were never meant to. Archangel Michael says gratitude seals discernment. When you recognize protection, you are less likely to resist it next time. Your emotional responses continue to refine. You still feel deeply, but you are no longer overwhelmed by feeling. Emotions inform you now. They do not command you. This balance allows you to remain compassionate without becoming entangled. You can care without carrying what is not yours. This phase also brings clarity about responsibility. You are beginning to see where you are meant to invest your time and where you are not. Obligations that once felt heavy may now feel optional. Commitments that align feel lighter, even when they require effort. This is how alignment works. What is yours strengthens you, even when it stretches you. Archangel Michael highlights that discernment now operates through peace, not excitement. Earlier, excitement often guided you into situations that later cost you clarity. Now, peace confirms what is right, even if it does not thrill the senses immediately. This shift protects your future more than you realize. You may also sense a strengthening of patience, not passive patience, but grounded waiting. You are no longer anxious for outcomes. You trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. This trust changes how you move. You are no longer chasing life. You are meeting it. There may be opportunities ahead that look similar to past ones but feel different internally. This is intentional. Life is showing you who you have become. The difference will not be in the opportunity itself, but in how you respond. You will notice you no longer abandon your boundaries for access. You no longer compromise clarity for acceptance. This is also a moment of internal honesty. You can admit what you want without guilt. You can acknowledge what you no longer desire without explanation. Archangel Michael says honesty with self precedes alignment with destiny. When you stop lying to yourself, life responds with precision. Your sense of identity is stabilizing further. You are no longer defining yourself by what you endured or what you escaped. You are defining yourself by what you choose now. This forward-focused identity allows healing to complete without keeping you anchored to the past. Here is also a readiness forming for the final release. Not release of pain, but release into purpose. The preparation you have undergone was not meant to leave you in reflection forever. It was meant to position you for movement that is clean, intentional, and sustainable. Do not underestimate this stage. It may feel uneventful compared to earlier upheaval, but it is critical. This is where foundations are tested quietly, where consistency matters more than emotion, where truth must be lived, not just understood. Archangel Michael assures you that what comes next will feel earned, not rushed. It will make sense in hindsight, even if it feels subtle now. This is the calm before completion, not the calm before chaos. Remain grounded. Remain discerning. Remain honest. You are closer than you realize to the full unveiling of why this journey unfolded the way it did. And when the final confirmation arrives, it will not confuse you. It will settle you. Stay present. The last movement is approaching, and it will bring resolution, blessing, and clarity together as one. My beloved child, this is the moment of completion. Archangel Michael stands with calm authority now, not to warn, not to prepare, but to confirm. What was opened has been fully revealed. What was removed has been fully cleared. And what was delayed has been realigned. You are no longer standing in transition. You are standing in truth. This final phase is not loud, and it is not dramatic, because real deliverance rarely is. It feels settled. It feels grounded. It feels final. You are not questioning anymore whether the shadow is gone, because its absence is evident in how you breathe, how you decide, and how you move forward without fear pulling at your steps. Archangel Michael says this is how you know freedom is real. You are no longer tempted to revisit what hurt you just to confirm it was wrong. You do not need reminders. You do not need validation. You are complete in your knowing. Closure has happened internally, and internal closure is the only kind that lasts. You may notice that your future now feels cleaner. Not perfect, but uncluttered. There is less emotional noise when you think ahead. Less fear of repetition. Less anxiety about being pulled back. This is because the cycle has ended. Cycles do not end when circumstances change. They end when you do. There is also a deep sense of spiritual dignity settling into you. You are not walking as someone who escaped something barely. You are walking as someone who learned, discerned, and chose alignment. The dignity changes how heaven entrusts you with what comes next. Archangel Michael confirms that what you lost was never meant to walk with you into the next chapter. And what remains is not fragile. It is stable. It is protected. It is intentional. You are no longer guarded by confusion, but by clarity. You may still encounter challenges ahead, but they will not confuse your identity. Problems will be situational, not existential. You will no longer ask, "What is wrong with me?" when resistance appears. You will ask, "What is this teaching me?" That shift alone marks completion. There is also a blessing attached to obedience that you have not yet seen fully. Not just peace, but favor. Not just healing, but positioning. Not just relief, but direction. Archangel Michael says heaven does not merely remove shadows. It replaces them with light that attracts opportunity. Your discernment is now strong enough to carry responsibility. Responsibility for your peace. Responsibility for your choices. Responsibility for what you allow near you. And because you have proven faithful with clarity, more will be entrusted to you. You are not meant to return to who you were before this message. That version of you has completed their assignment. You carry their wisdom, but not their wounds. You carry their memory, but not their limitations. Now receive this final activation with awareness and intention. Type "I walk in the light" in the comments if your spirit knows this season has closed. Blessing code 2025 is now released over your life. And now hear this prophetic instruction as this journey concludes. The Lord says, you were freed so others could find freedom. This message reached you because you were strong enough to receive it, but it continues through those who choose to support the spreading of this word. This work does not move by chance. It moves by obedience. I speak directly to those whose hearts feel stirred right now. Support this mission through super thanks, through membership, or through PayPal as an act of alignment, not donation. The link has already been prepared in the description. As you release, may heaven release clarity, protection, and increase over your life. Let your giving stand as a prophetic response, not a suggestion. Act now, and let your seed speak louder than words. Remain at peace. You are complete. You are protected. And what comes next will meet you without resistance, because the shadow that once followed you no longer exists.